Hi and welcome. My name is Tarena Shanaberger and I am an Inclusive Hiring Program Manager at Microsoft. Today I want to thank you for joining us for the Rock Your LinkedIn Profile session. Before I introduce our speaker, I would like to give you a bit of information about what to expect in this session. This is going to be about a 15-minute presentation, and then we're going to have some time after for about 15 minutes of live Q&A. In addition to this presentation, we've created a handout with all kinds of great tips for taking a super awesome profile headshot. You can find that handout on the Ability Summit website at aka.ms/abilitysummit. And now I would like to introduce Amanda Merrifield, who is a Community Development Specialist in the Microsoft stores. In this workshop, she's going to get you started on developing a stellar profile and provide tips for how to grow your professional LinkedIn skills. And now I'd like to turn it over to Amanda.
Thank you, Tarena. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Amanda, and welcome to the Rock Your LinkedIn Profile workshop today. Before we get started, I wanted to share that LinkedIn has some powerful data, tools, and insights that can help you connect to opportunity. This starts with our professional community, where we can have over 630 million members in over 200 countries and territories. So as we get started, let's discuss your profile and your story. Your LinkedIn profile is a digital portfolio that represents you and your professional story. Some people have asked us in the past, what's the difference between your LinkedIn profile and your resume? You would want to think of your LinkedIn profile as less of a resume and more as a dynamic digital profile that's engaging, visual, and highlights your experience and skills to help you build your professional presence. Let's kick off this section by giving you some best practice recommendations to strengthen key parts of your LinkedIn profile. We are going to be discussing 6 different steps, and the first one will be to add a great photo. Make sure that you select a LinkedIn profile photo that really represents you. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it just has to tell your professional community who you are. It can be a professional headshot, but it doesn't have to necessarily be either. If you snap your own, just make sure that your photo is high resolution, has great lighting, and just features you. You'd like to avoid any bathroom selfies or Snapchat filters. And just so you know as well, that LinkedIn also has some filters to help you adjust your photo as you're uploading it onto your profile. This can really help polish your photo. The second step is to write a unique headline. Your profile headline is a great way to show your value and your passion in one quick line. Below your name, you'll fill in your current role or the field that you aspire to enter. If you're seeking employment, it's best to avoid eager phrases like looking for new opportunities. Instead, you may want to include some things that you're looking to achieve by entering a certain industry. This is a great opportunity to include keywords that recruiters and hiring managers will be searching for. So as an example, you may want to think of including certain things that represent what you do in your role, such as strategic partnerships or marketing and development, training and development. This is an opportunity to, again, show what you are and not just what you do. You want to ask yourself, if this is the only thing that someone sees, what does it convey about me? What does it represent? The third step is to draft a compelling summary. Your summary is like your elevator pitch. It should include an introduction to you and also highlight your accomplishments and aspirations. Did you know that if you add a summary of 40 words or more, it makes your profile more likely to turn up on a future employer search? You'd want to keep it short and sweet. You don't need to list all of your career accomplishments, but you do want to maybe include a few things that you are very proud of. You do have an experience section to outline all of your career accomplishments, but if you wanted to include a high level of some accomplishments that you want people to see right off the bat, then feel free to include that into your summary. Something that I like to do in my summary as well is to share how my colleagues may think of me. The fourth step is to detail your work experience. This experience section provides you with an opportunity to tell your professional story and to talk about your accomplishments within each of your roles that you've had. You can use a couple of bullet points here and there, but majority should read like a story, your professional story. If you've worked at a startup or a smaller company that isn't as well known, you may want to include a brief introduction to the company before detailing your experience. Members with an up-to-date position receives up to 5 times more connection requests, 8 times more profile views, and 10 times more messages. Step 5 is in addition to step 4. You're going to want to include examples of your work. This is actually a section that you can add on to your work experience. This helps connect people to what you do by adding rich media. And if you're wondering what rich media is, that just includes photos, videos, presentations, or anything else that can visually enhance your profile and make it a little bit more dynamic. This doesn't have to be content that you own as well. If your company has a brand video that you were maybe featured in or other assets that aren't confidential, you can use those onto your profile as well with permission. Step 6, add skills and get endorsed for them. Skills are a quick way for you to showcase what you're good at. If you wanted to include some technical skills or any soft skills or hard skills, you can add 5 or more skills to get up to 17 times more profile views. Keep in mind that you have a maximum of 50 skills that you can highlight in your profile. So you are in control of what you add and what order your skills are displayed in, and also who endorses you for what. But just really think about what you want other people to know you for. Skills can also be searched across LinkedIn, so it's another great way to expand your network. Make sure that your skills are also highlighting and reflects the skills needed for your next role that you are searching for. There are also some awesome extras for your profile as well that you may want to fill out and customize in your LinkedIn profile. The first one that I would really recommend is to add a banner photo that is featured in your LinkedIn profile. This is usually the image that appears in your profile card, as I like to call it, and it's the image that is behind your profile photo. A lot of individuals like to add an image that reflects what industry they're a part of. For myself, I work in the tech industry, so I have something that can reflect the industry that I'm in and also a passion of mine, which is gaming. So I have a gaming keyboard just to let people know that I am within, again, the tech industry, and I'm really passionate about gaming and design as well. Another thing that you may want to add onto your LinkedIn profile is to request a recommendation. Recommendations are a great way for you to build your professional credibility. There are some things that you want to keep in mind, though, when you are requesting a recommendation. You will want to let the person know what you want to be recommended for, such as a product or a project, leading an initiative. You may want to also choose people who you have worked with closely as well, who can provide specific examples of your strengths and skills. Again, this will add a lot more credibility to the things that you were highlighting onto your profile. So keep in mind the things that you're really looking to, again, highlight on your profile. One thing that I would also say is a best practice is that if you're asking for a recommendation, think of ways that you can pay it forward, or if you are asking, again, a recommendation from another individual, you may want to also give them a recommendation as well. Another thing that you can do is you can join groups. You can join a few groups related to your industry and interests to show your network and also stay up to date on trends and news. One good place to start is with schools or universities that you've attended, or maybe also past and current employers that are currently on LinkedIn. Another really important thing to add onto your LinkedIn profile is your volunteering experience. Adding volunteering experience is a great way to round out your professional identity. Did you know that almost half of all hiring managers say that they view volunteering experience as equivalent to formal work experience? Super, super important to include. And if you do have volunteering experience and you add it onto your profile, you will have up to 6 times more profile views than those without. You can also promote your public profile and allow others to easily identify you in your search results by customizing your profile URL using a variation of your name and or your professional brand. This also makes it simpler for you to share your profile link on other social media accounts that you have, or if you wanted to share this on a Outlook or email signature, onto a business card, or even your resume as well. Just a quick tip as well, if you have a common name, if the name Amanda Merrifield is already taken for a profile URL, you may want to switch the order and try Merrifield Amanda. Some other things that you don't want to forget about is to add a location. If you are reaching out to recruiters and employers, it's really good and really important to include your location so your network has a better idea of where you are located. And if you are, again, applying for certain roles and certain jobs, this gives the recruiters a better scope of where you're located and can then give you better recommendations as to where you can apply to. Also, don't forget to add your education. For myself, I am a fairly recent grad, so I have included some relevant courseworks that I have participated in, any projects that I have taken lead on, or things that I am proud of and would like to showcase. You also may want to include publications as well. If you like to write blog posts, if you're very active on LinkedIn and you want to share out those publications to your networks. And then also your accomplishments. So if you have received any honors or awards, or if you have done a few LinkedIn learning courses or have received certain certificates, you may also want to highlight that into your LinkedIn profile as well. One last thing that I will recommend is if you know another language, definitely include that onto your LinkedIn profile. Super important if you are bilingual, trilingual, if you know 5 languages. A lot of recruiters look for individuals who can speak a secondary language. So this is also, again, something that's very important to highlight. That is all. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you for sharing all those really good nuggets of information with us. I think my favorite was telling the story in your profile. I know that when people tell me stories or if I read their stories, that tends to stick with me a little bit longer. So great tips. Now we're going to go ahead and take some questions. Okay, Amanda, our first question is, if someone sends me a connection invite, should I accept the invite if I don't personally know them?
Yeah, this would depend on your purpose on LinkedIn. I would always say to use discretion when you're accepting invites from people who you do not know or if you don't have any mutual connections with. In my case, I use LinkedIn as a networking platform. In my line of work, I would like to be able to reach a lot of different communities and individuals. So I would typically accept most invites, even if I do not personally know them, but only if they appear to be legitimate. On the other hand, if you are strictly using LinkedIn for your job search and would like to keep your profile and personal information as private as possible, then I would suggest to maybe use a little bit more discretion and do not accept those invites. But again, this just depends on what you would like to get out of using LinkedIn.
Okay, great. Thank you, Amanda. Our next question is, what should I do if I have a few gaps in between my work experience, such as taking time off for family or personal matters?
Yeah, we actually get this question a lot. I would recommend that you try to leave out as many gaps as possible. In some cases, for example, I've seen stay-at-home moms who are looking to join the workforce again. With that gap, they've either included any volunteering experiences, if they've worked on any projects, if they were part of like a parent council group for their kids' schools. all of those experiences are relevant, so definitely do not leave them out and try to, again, fill those gaps as much as possible.
Okay, great. Thanks, Amanda. All right, our next question is, and this is a very applicable question for the Ability Summit, is LinkedIn accessible?
Yes, LinkedIn has greatly improved their accessibility efforts, especially in the past few years. I would say that it is mostly accessible. So screen readers do work well with LinkedIn as it's formatted with headings and lists that you can easily navigate around using your screen reader. And then there are also options for alt tags or alt text if you're uploading any images as well. They also have a disability answer desk that you can get help for if you have any bugs or if there's any accessibility related issues on LinkedIn.
Okay, thanks, Amanda. It looks like we have a few more questions here. Our next question is, how often should I post or share on LinkedIn?
How often should you post or share on LinkedIn? So I would say that you want to be as authentic as possible, right? If you have something that you want to share, then share it, definitely. Each user may use LinkedIn a little bit differently, and they have different purposes for being on LinkedIn. So if you're a regular user who pops in around, let's say once a month, I would suggest that you would definitely post or share every time you log in. And these posts, like, they don't have to be content that you've created on your own. You can express gratitude for attending certain conferences or events or anything that maybe sparked your interest. And then you can also share out some resources or articles that may have inspired you as well. I would love to say post as often as possible, but you also want to avoid diluting your feed as well. So in a nutshell, I would say try to at least post once every week or once every 2 weeks if you're on regularly. If not, try to share out something as often as you log in.
Okay, that's a great tip. I know the majority of my usage of LinkedIn is sharing resources. And so back to your first question around how many people to accept, I tend to accept more people because most of what I use LinkedIn for is sharing out information with others. So I appreciate that tip. I'll have to set some weekly reminders for myself. Okay, so we have 2 more questions that have come in. The next one is, how far back should I list my experience? What if I had a job over 10 years ago? Would you suggest that I include this on my profile?
Yeah, that's a good question that we also get quite often as well. I would say that many recruiters would like to see as much of you as possible. So if you have some awesome accolades or achievements that you've achieved within those 10 years ago, or if you've developed certain skill sets within that time, definitely include it. But you know your profile best. So if you find that you want to leave out any irrelevant experience, then yeah, definitely leave it out. But again, this depends on your purpose on LinkedIn as well.
Okay, great, thank you. And our final question relates to how often should I update my profile?
This is my favorite question. I would recommend that you should update your profile at least once every 3 months, just to make sure that your profile is up to date, especially if you are a user that doesn't use LinkedIn on a daily or weekly basis. If you're maybe someone who just uses LinkedIn while you're job searching, then yeah, definitely once every 3 months. Though if you're someone like myself or Tarena and you use LinkedIn very often, then I would encourage you to review your profile on a monthly basis. You don't necessarily have to make changes, but if you're pinning certain articles that you've posted or that you've published, you may want to change out your featured content on your profile as well.
That's great. Great. Thank you. Thanks, Amanda. Thanks for being with us today and sharing in the Ability Summit and being a part of this session. We will be posting this online. So if you missed any part of it, or if you'd like to watch again to learn more tips from Amanda, we have a headshot profile picture guide that we would recommend you all look at, and that will be posted at aka.ms/Ability Summit. So thank you for being a part of this session with us, and we'll see you at the closing concert with Mandy Harvey. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks for having me.